What is up, everybody? We are getting a little crypto rally. Appreciate y'all in the chat. If you're in this live stream, hit the like on your way in. It means a lot to me. It really helps us. This is what we have on the Bitcoin daily chart. Before we even dive into Bitcoin daily chart and Cardano charts and talk about what's going on, I just saw this tweet. I just wanted to cover it just to play into the general theme of bullish narrative today. Paul Graywall over here. This is the Coinbase chief legal officer just tweeting a little bit ago. I might cover this in a video later. We're grateful to the Supreme Court for its careful review. Another example of why I believe in the American court system. So what he's replying to is this. The U.S. Supreme Court sided with a Coinbase unit in a ruling that reinforces the ability of companies to channel customer and employee disputes into arbitration. So this is a win for Coinbase. The rule of law is sometimes slow and at times disappointing, but it remains our last best hope in imperfect democracy. To kind of sum up maybe the bullish narrative here, I saw this tweet as well. Coinbase now has a 1-0 record in the Supreme Court. The SEC has only won one of their last 5. Looking forward to putting some more points on the scoreboard. I was just over there on BitBoy Crypto on a live stream, and we were just talking about, I was talking to DZ and Tim about the shift in dynamic here. Coinbase, Ripple, Binance, they're on the offensive. Years ago, especially as it relates to Ripple on the defensive. Coinbase delisting XRP at the time. It's not happening this time. There's something else in the air. There's something different in the air. Things feel a little bit different. And this is a good thing, especially as we come out of a bear market. So let's dive in. Let's just talk about what's going on over here on the Bitcoin charts. I'm sure as I'm doing a live stream, because I'm doing the live stream, price will just hit a wall. I feel like over the last 5 years of me doing this, when price starts moving, I do a live stream. It's just, that's what happens. Price starts coming down. So that's okay. It'll start probably pumping once we end the live stream. This is Bitcoin on the weekly. We're going to talk about Bitcoin on the weekly and the monthly, but real quick, I just kind of want to point out the biggest thing that I mentioned on the live stream that I was just on like a half hour ago in relation to Bitcoin. Bitcoin was pumping at the time. Of course, I'm on a different live stream. Bitcoin's pumping. But Bitcoin's pumping on that live stream. And really what I was just discussing, what I'm watching on the very short term, literally today, now 7.5 hours left on this daily candle. What I'm watching is where does the daily candle close? You zoom in. This white line is a really important area. If you've been watching any of my technical analysis lately, you know this falling channel that we broke out of back here in June 20th or so, a few days ago. The target to the upside in this general region of 30,700, confluent resistance right here, the swing high back here in April. How does the daily candle close? Can we close above this area? That's the first thing on the short term I'm watching for. Everybody, if you're in the comments, if you're in the chat, thank you so much for cruising by. So before we even dive back into this shorter term move of Bitcoin and what's going on, I do want to just kind of lay the groundwork, so to speak, on the zoomed out charts, because this is what I have in my thumbnail. This is a big deal on the Bitcoin monthly chart. This is a MACD line in blue getting ready to cross the red signal line. Couple things to point out. The last time, if you just zoom out on this monthly chart, we shifted from just red, and mind you, look how basically we can call it oversold Bitcoin has been in this bear market. Look how low this histogram is on Bitcoin compared to back here in the last bull market. But the last time we kind of pivoted out of something like that and we had a MACD cross on this MACD bullish cross was back here, right? So yes, it happened in the last bear market. Coming out of the bear market, we're getting that bullish cross. But the actual last time we got a MACD cross was right here. What I want to point out is just notice the amount of consolidation of the MACD and the signal line for months and months and months going into the last halving. So yes, we came out of the last bear market, but there was consolidation to the downside as well. And that was all leading into the Bitcoin halving. So I would anticipate something similar. I really would. It's really nice to see this MACD approaching. It would be really great to see the MACD line cross above the signal line. We want to see that, obviously. But similar to coming out of the last bear market, consolidation. That means dips, right? So Maybe we break through and above. Maybe we hit higher targets that we'll talk about in a second. Maybe there's consolidation into the next halving before the actual huge bull market MACD cross, the one similar to this one, right? So maybe this isn't the bull market MACD signal. That's okay. And I think I would be cautious to ever say that this was, because it all relates to all the technical analysis, all these indicators, all the data. The biggest thing you always have to keep in mind, at least I always keep in mind, where are we in the cycles? I think that has everything to do with it. So really big deal as we pivot out of the bull market or bear market. But let's, I think, cool the emotion a little bit and just give it some patience. It's a monthly chart. This is a multi-month move. Everybody, we got 500 people in here. We got 84 likes. I'm out here asking you to smash the like button for me for those YouTube algorithms. We do this, continue this live stream. I'm always out here desperately begging. I know it's pathetic. Begging for those likes. The algos, man. All right, weekly chart. So on the weekly, let's just point out what is currently happening. I circled this because I wanted to make note of it. And this could play into the target that we're about to talk about in the daily. A target above $40,000 for Bitcoin, by the way, in the shorter to midterm. This is a weekly MACD now. Now, the MACD on the weekly also looking bullish, meaning, look at this. Look at this cross. MACD crossing the signal line on this MACD on the weekly. But I think what might be even more bullish in regards to this is it's above zero on the histogram. The reason I say that that's looking quite bullish is because the last time actually Bitcoin crossed, we saw MACD cross above the signal line, above zero on the histogram. This was leading into the bull market high. This was leading into all-time highs for Bitcoin. So it's a very big show of momentum right here. This happening above zero on the histogram. We could be getting something very similar. The cross on this MACD above the histogram. Not to say we're going to all-time highs, but we could be getting a major push to the upside, right? Similar to that last time the MACD crossed above zero on the histogram, we got all-time highs. I'm not saying we're going to get all-time highs, but this could be the push that Bitcoin needs before probably a huge consolidation, mind you, and huge pain. If we get this breakout to the upside, this could be the push. $42,000 target to the upside. And for me, what that is, it's this rising wedge that we've been tracking. This is a very zoomed out on the daily rising wedge. This kind of goes all the way back to 2022, November 2022. That capitulation in the bear market kind of is the beginning of this wedge, right? We have all this kind of structure forming. We get this breakout of the upper trend line, pulled back into the wedge, closer towards the apex, and that breakdown towards the apex and towards this lower trend line created this falling channel that we've now hit the target to, right? So from a technical analysis perspective, and this is what's so cool about Bitcoin and crypto in general, and crypto charts and technical analysis, through all of the crazy headlines that we've had going on over the last few weeks, months, actually, yeah, the last year and a half even, through all of the crazy headlines, through all of it, the charts, the structure, the momentum oscillators that we track, they are so on point and still consistent with just the macro, with the picture of Bitcoin, right? When you go to something like a weekly chart and you zoom out, it's just kind of like, wow, Bitcoin is so on pace. And I say that all the time, but it just never ceases to amaze me that that's where we are. So Bitcoin on the 6 hour, let's talk about kind of downside if this fails, right? As I'm doing this live stream, Bitcoin was above 31. Now we're already at this area of resistance. This is the first thing, right? So it starts here, and then we'll look at what consolidation could look like. Then we're going to pivot to Cardano. This is the resistance area. We talked about why. If you missed it, it's because this was a swing high that we had back here in April, and it's also the target out of this falling channel. Not to repeat myself, but it's a very confluent area of resistance. Where will the daily candle close? I want to see a push above in the next 7.5 hours, a separation from that area. I'm not sure it'll happen. Bitcoin can close below. It could be a very ugly wick, right? If that's the case, I'm very much anticipating what we've talked about prior, and we did it in the last Bitcoin video. This is very speculative, and it still is speculative. But if we get this resistance at that area, I would be looking for maybe a sideways move for Bitcoin, a consolidation move for Bitcoin. We can say a retrace, a throwback to the larger upper trend line of that huge rising wedge, right, with a $42,000 target. We could just see the resistance is here. Bitcoin just can't do it, fails, comes down. Maybe it comes down hard. Maybe it falls into the apex of that rising wedge to the lower trend line of the rising wedge. This would be a big dip for Bitcoin, $30 or $27,000 area. But this upper trend line, first area of support, I'd be watching just around 29,000. So it's like $2,000 away from where Bitcoin is right now, basically. It's 28,009 or 29,000. Bitcoin comes down, consolidates. Maybe we fall into this. It would be great because I really enjoy tracking ascending triangles, speculative ascending triangle. But anyway, either way, I'd be looking for some type of consolidation. Maybe it's not even that. Maybe Bitcoin sees resistance and actually falls lower. And then maybe we start setting up some type of symmetrical triangle. Don't know. But that is something I will very much be watching. What does a consolidation look like for Bitcoin? But again, to round out the next 7.5 hours, probably the biggest takeaway for me is what happens with this daily candle. And can Bitcoin put in a powerful daily close above this line right here, this resistance line? That's what I'll be watching because there's a lot of confluent resistance for Bitcoin on that chart. So what is up, Andrew? What is up? I see people in the chart. I appreciate you cruising by. I want to pivot over to Cardano. All right, that's Cardano dominance. I actually wanted to start here for a reason. You know, there's not been any major trigger on the Cardano charts. I'm going to look at probably the most interesting part of the Cardano charts for me that just actually did happen, but it's not a crazy bullish confirmation just yet. But I want to look at that. But before I do, wanted to point out on the ADA dominance chart, because there's been a lot of talk about Bitcoin dominance. I just did a really big segment about Bitcoin dominance on the BitBoy channel on a live stream like an hour ago. I'm going to do a video on Bitcoin dominance as it relates to altcoins, as it relates to things like Cardano. But I do just want to point out when we were in this, similar area, meaning we're trying to find our way through the bottom of the bear market, trying to exit the bear market, similar area, ADA dominance was less than 0.5%, right? Right now, it's at 0.9%. And many people are looking at this like it's weak. See, ADA's falling. But this is a cyclical chart. This is just like every other chart. It's consistent. I'm happy it's consistent. I would not anticipate that this ADA dominance chart coming out of the bull market would just keep going up. I think everybody that's been in crypto for any amount of time knows that dominance on altcoins in bear markets, it falls. It's always a question of just how far is it going to fall, right? It's fallen. Cardano's fallen. But even with the fact that the SEC handpicked ADA, not a ton of coins that were handpicked by the SEC, calling ADA out in the Coinbase case, even with that happening, ADA dominance is not back. It's not down here where it was in the last bear market. It's putting in a higher low. Maybe it continues to fall. We'll track it, right? We're in this bear market territory. We're in the bear market to bull market territory. We're not in bull market territory. So if you'd anticipate anything, it would be to fall. It's just a question of how low. Right now, still putting in a higher low. I just wanted to point that out. I think that just says a lot for me as a value investor in Cardano, as somebody that appreciates the macro charts and what's going on in the macro. That's important to me, right? I have the patience, although I don't like it to see ADA dominance fall, I have the patience to withstand it. And I have the context of the Bitcoin dominance chart here to understand, I think, what's going on. And I'm going to do a separate video on this. Look out for it, Bitcoin dominance as it relates to altcoins. But this is a picture of Bitcoin dominance. This is a bull market. This is bull market. Bitcoin dominance falling. This is a bull market. Bitcoin dominance falling. So patience required for the next bull market, post next Bitcoin halving. I anticipate Bitcoin dominance to fall, and I anticipate things like ADA dominance to rise back up. So let's pivot over to the ADA charts and kind of talk about what's going on with ADA. All right. Double bottom. That's the picture on the weekly. That's the obvious picture everybody's looking at. The scenario I don't want is the obvious as well. Bitcoin falls, crypto falls, And in that case, Bitcoin dominance is probably going to continue to rise, right? If in a continued bearish move and something bad happens, especially a kind of like this really bearish event, similar to what we just saw, like with SEC just attacking everything, right? Something bad. Maybe SEC gets a huge win somehow, and crypto's falling. I don't want this low to come into play. There's obviously a trend. I don't want another lower low for ADA. We'll track it if it happens. I will be here if it happens. Nobody wants to see that happen. Let's discuss what is happening right now. Swing low, and on the RSI, we have kind of this bullish divergence. We have a higher low putting in on the RSI. More importantly, what I want to talk about is the daily chart. So let's go over the daily chart. I want to point something out that's happening. And I was actually doing this earlier. I was charting this earlier, and I noticed, and when I was charting this, I believe ADA wasn't quite above this 20-day moving average. So that's kind of that's a big deal to kind of lay the groundwork for what I'm about to track. What I noticed when zooming out on this ADA daily chart is the MACD. I noticed something because obviously we have a MACD indicator going off recently. This just happened, MACD line crossing above the signal line, this red line. Interpreted as a bullish thing, but you have to, again, take into account all of the data on the charts. But I went back and I was like, all right, especially even in the bear market, this has happened before, right? ADA has put in a MACD crossing above the signal line. What has happened previously when that's happening? The one thing I noticed is this. ADA was, when it's happening, getting pulled back into the 20-day moving average. And then I tried to kind of just take a note. When it's circled green, it's because ADA, I keep saying Bitcoin, it's because ADA not only pulled back to the 20-day, but actually broke above the 20-day, right? So you can go back here, and this was in March, MACD crossing the signal line, also breaking above the 20-day. And this confluence between the MACD, momentum oscillator, and the 20 moving average, that confluence is important to me in my technical analysis. And this is what happened previously. So this was a green move, meaning a break above the 20. This one was a green move back in December, a huge break above the 20-day. This one, red, circled red. We got the MACD cross, but it circled red because what happened? Resistance at the 20-day. This one, you see ADA breaking above the 20-day, and even this one momentarily breaking above the 20-day. The 20-day moving average, the 20-week moving average, incredibly important areas for me as I evaluate confirmations for ADA. We've been talking about this throughout the entire bear market, really. If you go to the weekly chart in ADA, we've been waiting for ADA to break the 20-week moving average and start showing support above it. And sadly enough, ADA was potentially on its way to doing it. ADA singled out in this SEC thing, it demolished the chart, at least in the short to midterm, right? And it's a very similar type of thing for me, just out of nowhere, a COVID move, right? What it did to the charts. It really messed things up. Nonetheless, it happened. But we're still trying to tell the same story. ADA to get above the 20-week moving average and stay above it and start seeing support above it. Well, on the daily chart, it's the same thing for me. It's just, on the daily chart, it's the stepping stone for it happening on the weekly. I want to see ADA break above the 20, but see support above it. And it was well on its way, even actually back here, right? With this move, breaking above the 20, seeing support above it, right? And then it's just consolidation of the moving averages. It was back above, and consolidation is fine. And ADA even momentarily falling below it is fine. And it broke back above, and it's above, and then boom, SEC stuff happened. Nope, that's not going to happen. But now we have to reset. We have to tell that story again. Right now, ADA above the 20-day moving average, but just simply not enough for me to even think this is any type of bullish confirmation, because we have the 50-day in a downtrend. We have the 200-day up here. And both of these things are very confluent with the major resistance, the bullish confirmation area. That's going to require maybe some time, some patience. I don't know if ADA is going to get there or not, but this is what I'm waiting to see if ADA can make the move to. It's the swing high from before this huge move to the downside to the swing low. And let me move this up since we're on the daily. It's this. It's a Fibonacci resistance, lower high resistance. And you can just see in there is the 200 around 35 cents, the 50 around 34 cents, and then the 786 itself around 35 and a half cents, 33 and a half cents is the 618. So this little square, that's the area of big resistance that I'm watching for ADA right now. All this confluent resistance. First hurdle, obviously the 20-day, getting separation from that. We need a powerful move. But if ADA can trigger and break through all of this mess, that's very bullish. And we'll start seeing that'll start beginning to, that will start translating on the weekly chart over here. Remember, it's 36 cents is where the 20-week moving average is, that green line. That's what we want to see on the macro. So if ADA is breaking above this Fibonacci, notice where it is, 35 and a half cents, just below 36. This is the area for ADA to break, and we might actually see a really strong breakout. The thing that makes it hard to say is just the fact that from the capitulation low, ADA is already up 36%. So talk about having to dig itself out of a mess, right? It's already up 36%. And then we need to see ADA cruise another 10 to 18% to the upside to break the actual resistance, this lower high resistance, to kind of really start turning the ship around. ADA, as always seems the case over the years, and it's all good. I've accepted it as the case. ADA, an underdog. This stuff that has happened in recent weeks as it relates to ADA with Coinbase and stuff, it makes it even more so. ADA is an underdog. It is what it is. It's partly why I like it so much, because I know what's happening fundamentally on the back end. I know what's happening with total value locked. I know what's happening with DeFi. DeFi is absolutely going crazy. There's so much opportunity in DeFi on Cardano right now. I know what's happening there. It's not happening on other chains in a similar sense. It has a similar vibe, similar vibe to early days DeFi on Ethereum. It's happening right now in Cardano, even with price down. That is so fundamentally important to me. So ADA was an underdog before. It's an underdog again. It is what it is. I think it'll pull through. And it's just these mini roadblocks and hurdles in the way, on the way up, digging out of this mess. So those are my thoughts on ADA. I appreciate everybody that's here right now tracking not the pump that was happening when I went live, but just tracking nothing happening now, because that's what happens. Hit that like button. Thanks for the comment. I appreciate it. I'm always shilling that like button. Press 1 if you're feeling bullish out there, everybody. Press 2 if you are simply bearish and you're ready for a downtrend. If you think there's too much resistance, press 2. If you're bullish, press 1 and press the like button. We need the stock market to be going up. If not, correction, S&P 500. I mean, there's definitely a correlation between the two, but that's not to say that they haven't been uncorrelated, decorrelated, whatever you want to call it. Joe, thanks for cruising by. Good question. Thoughts on ADA, new all-time high with the SEC lawsuit. Will this be similar to XRP? I want to say this. This is going to sound maybe weird. I'll probably end with this. This is my thought in relation to Cardano and why I tell this story, or my thought. Let me go to the Cardano Weekly. XRP, when SEC went after Ripple, XRP, obviously, it fell. It took a huge hit. It was down like 70%. Coinbase announced its delisting XRP. It just took a huge hit, right? It pumped 10x after that. That's just what happened. Even not listed on Coinbase, it pumped 10x after that. We have this mess that just happened. It threw the Cardano charts off. It makes Cardano ADA look bad on the charts compared to others. But I think that's where the hidden opportunity actually is, and it's risky opportunity, but it's hidden opportunity tied into the Cardano story that I think most people are probably just not paying attention to. They buy into the fear headlines surrounding ADA. This is why it's opportunity. Because, and I've said this time and time again. Yeah, this thing with SEC is happening right now, but 2 points. Number one, Coinbase, Brian Armstrong did a very, very strong, aggressive tweet saying, listen, we are happy to represent the industry. We're happy to stand by what we're building. And basically they're not removing ADA from Coinbase. So that's a huge point that kind of goes overlooked. Coinbase years ago with the Ripple case was like, ooh, okay, we'll remove XRP. We're sorry. Kind of on the defensive, like, uh-oh. Like this is shaky ground. This time around, the Coinbase is a complete opposite. And you can watch video of Paul Graywall. He did there was a video they did put on Twitter. So much more on the defensive. Basically, we're gonna fight. Brian Armstrong, we're here to represent the industry. We're here to move forward. We're not delisting. That's huge for ADA that we have that right now. I'm extremely grateful. Not only Coinbase, Binance, they're fighting. They're on the offensive. We have Ripple, they're on the offensive. And SEC they're running into roadblocks themselves. That kind of pivots into the bull case for Cardano with this. Everybody's kind of like, oh, this is so bad. And yeah, it's this. I've never said this is good for Cardano, right? What happened with the SEC and everything. But here's what I know. ADA was launched in Japan. I believe it was in Japanese language, I think, with vouchers. It was with vouchers. And I think they didn't even get the ADA until like a year later or something. This wasn't even available to US investors in any sense. And then we have the library case. We have library tokens being basically deemed non-securities in secondary market. All of that, just for me, from a fundamental perspective, it's like I don't think ADA is a security. Now we pull into play all of these cases that are going on. The Coinbase case. What if they win? What if it turns out really well? What if ADA and the rest of crypto gets extreme clarity in the space? As Cardano, fundamentally, from a technical perspective, offers an insane protocol. They're a top 5 crypto. DeFi is getting ready to absolutely explode. It's already just fun times in Cardano DeFi right now. What happens if Coinbase, if this ends up being good for crypto? What happens to this top 5 blue chip, which is Cardano ADA? What happens? It's so undervalued, in my opinion. What is it, $9-10 billion? And then if we get clarity, if there becomes guidance that ADA is not a security, what happens? I don't know. But right now, I know even with the fear, all I know on this chart, it's still putting in a higher low. It's not like ADA went back to all-time lows because of all this fear that's happening right now. I can tell you that much. That says a lot to me. I'm very curious to see what happens. So that's my answer on new all-time high. So to actually answer the question, I think, yes, I think ADA can absolutely hit all-time high. It's a different season than it was for XRP. XRP, really bad timing. ADA, if it was going to happen, there's no better timing than right now. Prior to the next bull market, for XRP, it was right like when the bull market was starting. Terrible timing. Everything taking off, XRP dipping 70%. Terrible timing. We're not there yet. We have a ton of time, I think, before the next bull market. I think it'll be post 2024 halving before the real bull market happens. Maybe it could be sooner, but right now it's not a bull market, and ADA has some time to work through this, time to consolidate, time to reset. And I 100% think it can break all-time highs. I think I still have to do a video on it. I think $7 to $10 is I think it's a pretty safe conservative target. Maybe it undershoots it, maybe it overshoots it. But that's for another video. In the long term, I still think both of these are in play, but a lot does have to depend on the future of crypto from a worldwide perspective. But right now, I see it being more adopted than not from a worldwide perspective. And so in the macro, and I'm talking in the macro, multi-year, I think it's looking okay for ADA. So those are my thoughts. Everybody, time for me to cruise off here. Please hit the subscribe if you're not a subscriber. turn the notifications on, everybody. I don't know if you get notifications when I post a video, but I've been just cranking out the crypto news. I've been really enjoying doing news as all of the stuff is coming about. And I hope to continue that and maybe even format it in a certain way. But turn the notifications on if you enjoy the content, if you enjoy the analysis, if you enjoy the news. Your support means a lot to me. I'm working on a lot of different things. It's been a long time coming, multi months, trying to piece some things together to offer the community. I'm just trying to be very patient with it, take my time with it. So be on the lookout though, because we're trying to go to the next level as we get ready for the next bull market. And smash the like button on the way out because, again, those YouTube algorithms. I hope you have an awesome day. I'll do another video later probably, especially if we get another price move one way or the other, or if some breaking news comes out with crypto. So just be on the lookout, everybody, and just enjoy your Friday. I love you all. I really do. I really do. And I hope you have an awesome day. Start to the weekend. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.